YouTube. So this is my labor and delivery story for Savannah. Her due date was May 26, 2014, and she was born on May 27th. Okay, I guess my 2-year-old wants to be in the video. So, she was born a day after her due date, which my daughter Scarlett was induced 8 days after her due date, so I wasn't really thinking I was going to go into labor. I had been 3 centimeters dilated for 2 weeks already, so my doctors kept saying it was going to be any time, but I kind of felt like I was never going to go into labor since I never did with my first one. But on the 27th, I felt nothing, like I had no Braxton Hicks, no symptoms of anything happening whatsoever. I was with my mom earlier, and I was like teasing her how, well, today's not going to be the day. I feel absolutely nothing. This baby's not going to come out. I'm going to have to be induced again. So I went home, got Scarlett down for a nap, and I was just about to lay down to take a nap. I took a belly shot, and then I laid down to take a nap, and right when I laid down, I felt like I was wet a little bit. So I was like, this is weird. I just went to the bathroom right before I laid down, so I got up and I went to the bathroom, and my underwear was wet, and I was just like confused, like, did I just pee on myself? I didn't know what was going on, and then I was like, oh my gosh, is this my water? But I didn't feel a snap or a pop or anything like that. Scarlett, no, sweetie. Thank you. I didn't feel a snap or pop or anything, so I didn't think that it was my water. And then I coughed, and a whole bunch more came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, my water just broke. Like, I'm having a baby today. It was so crazy that it was actually happening because I never really believed that it would happen. So I called my mom, and she was at work and wasn't answering her phone. So I was like, great, she's not answering. My water broke. What am I going to do? Scarlett's sleeping. So I called my dad, and he was getting his hair cut, and I told him that my water broke. You need to call mom and have her meet me at my house. So my dad called my mom, and she raced over here. And then I called my husband, who was on his way home from work, and told him that my water broke. He needed to get here fast. So he got here first, and he was like freaking out, like, let's go. And I told him that my mom was coming. So my mom, she stayed with Scarlett, and my mom stayed with Scarlett, who is still sleeping, and Josh and I, my husband, went to the hospital, which is about half an hour away. So my water broke at 2:45. We got to the hospital at 4. And then in the car, I had like 2 contractions that were like not really painful. It was just like, ooh, a contraction. I was so excited. And then we walk into the hospital, and then bam, I get like my first really hard contraction at 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So with Scarlett's delivery, I got my epidural before I even had any contractions, so I didn't really feel labor. So I got my, we got to triage, and I walked up there on my own, and I had like 4 contractions walking up there, and I'm like, there's no way they're this close together. And seriously, my contractions started out 4 minutes apart. As soon as they started, 4 minutes apart and hard. So at 4:45, I was like begging them, please give me something. Please put something in my IV. Like, I want my epidural now. And they hadn't even given me an IV yet. Like, I was still like being admitted. So I got a little bit loud, and then they gave me my IV right away, and they thought I was like ready to push. So they checked me, and I was 4 centimeters, and that was at 4:45. And then I got into the delivery room at 5, and they wheeled me over there. The room wasn't set up yet, so they're like rushing because they felt like I was going to have the baby really quickly. And I was like, no, I'm not having her. I have to have my epidural. I haven't had my epidural yet. I cannot have her. And then at 5:15, my OB came in and checked me, and I was 7 centimeters. And she's like, okay, you're like almost ready to go. And I was just like, no. I was like, I'm not going to push. Like, I need my epidural. I'll wait. And they said that the guy was doing somebody else's epidural, and I was next. And I was like, tell him to stop, please. Tell him to come do me first. And they were just like, relax, Ashley. It's okay. When I was in triage, they did give me Nubane in my IV, which took the edge off a little bit. But at this point, my contractions, it was 5:15, my contractions were 2 minutes apart, and I was 7 centimeters, and I was just like, I didn't care about anything. I just wanted my epidural. And my OB was just like calming me down, saying, if we don't have time, we don't have time. We'll give you something in your IV, but you can do it. And I was just like, I can't. was like, I need it, I need it. Every nurse that came in, I'm like, do you have the epidural? And they were probably like getting crazy. I was driving them crazy. And then one contraction, I pulled my IV out, so they had to put it in my other hand. And while they were doing that, the epidural guy came, but they couldn't give me the epidural till my IV was in. So I'm just like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I'm going to run out of time. Because I was starting to feel pressure, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want them to be like, oh, you're 9 centimeters, you can't get it. So this is like 20 minutes after I was 7 centimeters. They give me the epidural without checking me, thank God. So this is 6 o'clock. I got my epidural. And, well, they started giving it to me at like 5:40, I think. And then they were done at 6 o'clock. So I had my epidural. I was really good. One contraction later, I was like, I feel like I kind of need to push. So I told my husband, I like whispered to him, I was like, I think I have to push. But I don't want to tell them because I'm freaking tired and I want to relax and enjoy this epidural. So one more contraction later, he's like, okay, you need to tell them if you need to push. So I told the nurse I had a lot of pressure, but I don't want to push because I pushed for 2 hours with Scarlett. So I was like, I don't want to push until I absolutely have to push. So she's like, okay, if you feel like you're pushing without being able to control it, let me know. So she left. And then seriously, the next contraction, I was like, okay, go get her because it's time. So I had 4 contractions after my epidural and I was ready to push. So they called my OB in. She came in. They said I was 10 centimeters. +2 station, baby's head was right there, and they set everything up, and I pushed through one contraction and her head was out, and I pushed through another contraction and the rest of her was out. And I had a tiny tear. She was 7 pounds 12 ounces, 18.5 inches long. Her name's Savannah Marie, and it was the easiest delivery. She was born at 6:36, so my water broke at 2:45. We got to the hospital at 4, and she was born at 6:36. So it was really, really fast labor. And I will show you her. Sorry, let me take you over here. And I don't even think you're going to be able to see her because it's so dark. Let's see. Let's take her over here. There she is. Say hi, everybody. It's my YouTube appearance. All right, so that's my labor and delivery story. My recovery has been awesome. Adjusting to 2 kids has been awesome. I'll probably do another video on the transition, but everything is fantastic. And we're really happy, and she's 2.5 weeks old already, and I can't believe it. So thanks for watching my story. Sorry I rushed through it. I don't have that much battery. If you have any questions, leave them below, and thanks for listening to my story. Bye.